37 minutes of usable fuel remained in the wings. 52 minutes to the nearest strip of concrete. And 287 people sat in a metal tube over the most ruthless stretch of the Atlantic. The moon was high, pale, and indifferent. Flight 904 had left New York for Dublin 4 hours earlier, surfing a smooth jet stream tailwind that promised an ahead-of-schedule breakfast. Landing until a pressure spike sheared a half-inch return. Tube at the left-wing route. No one on board saw the moment steel cracked, but every window on that side soon gleamed with a surreal ribbon of silver mist whipping aft like a wet streamer. The cockpit smelled kerosene before the annunciator chimed up. Captain Irene Daley. 16,000 hours, 3,000 of them in the 777. Stabbed a gloved thumb at the EICA's fuel page and watched the left total tumble. First Officer Kareem Malik began the fuel imbalance checklist. Step 1, identify. Step 2, cross-feed closed. But as they transferred fuel to slow the imbalance, the total drop worsened, and the numbers on the right side ceased matching the burn chart. Daley's head math screamed, leak, big leak. Shanwick Radio answered first call with professional calm. Distance to Shannon Airport, 529 nautical miles. Time at planned cruise, 52 minutes, remaining predicted endurance. At 90 kilograms per minute loss, 37 minutes, Daley keyed the PA. Her voice came out to calm, as if narrating a training video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a situation involving our fuel system. We are in full control. If any passenger on board holds a professional background in chemical engineering, please identify yourself to the nearest flight attendant. Rows of faces turned, whispers spread like fire in dry grass. Seat 23 Alpha's call light blinked on. Leila Torres hesitated before standing. Shyness tangled in her chest. 21, senior year, University of Massachusetts, chemical biomolecular. Double major. She was flying to Galway to present a poster on low-temperature polymer foams. The most dangerous equipment she had handled was a differential scanning calorimeter. Yet the screen in her mind replayed lecture slides on polymer expansion kinetics. Co-nucleation, vapor pressure curves at cabin altitude. A flight attendant repeated the captain's call. Leila wiped sweaty palms on her burgundy hoodie and lifted her hand higher than she had ever raised it in a classroom. The walk to the forward galley felt longer than the Atlantic itself. Passengers leaned into the aisle to stare, some hopeful, some terrified, some filming. The noise underfoot was different now, a faint hiss of air where none should be. The galley smelled of coffee grounds and something acrid, almost electrical. 2 attendants met her with quick questions, credentials, lab experience, hazardous materials sat. She answered rapid fire and held out her laminated lab ID. One attendant radioed the cockpit. Within 40 seconds, the verdict came back. Bring her forward. The flight deck door opened under emergency protocol. Captain Daley met Leila with eyes that asked everything at once. Do you know what you're doing? Do you understand the stakes? Can you do it in 30 minutes? Leila exhaled a tremor and said, if we can seal a low-pressure leak long enough to save 90 kilos a minute, we buy the time you need. Daley nodded once, decisive, and waved her aft. Inventory first. The aft galley held aerosol cans of professional hair mousse formulated polyethylene oxide foam with propane-butane propellant. Lavatory service kits offered co-canisters for the mini-tap system. A half roll of aluminum HVAC tape hung behind a cart. There were nitrile gloves, trash compactor liners, and an ice pick. Air being 41% humidity met the minimum needed for moisture cure, polyurethane 2. Polymerase fast. Leila scribbled a diagram on a linen napkin, mousse canister as polymer base. Mesh of carbon dioxide bubbles for cell nucleation. Aluminum tape to confine expansion along the fracture line. She would perforate 2 mousse cans, drain them into a trash liner bag. Pop open to CO cartridges, knead the cold slurry, and inject it as a viscous plug while it was still semi-fluid. Temperature at cabin altitude, inside the wing root, would hover around -5 Celsius, perfect for rapid foam set within 5 seconds. She explained this in breathless sentences while attendants fished supplies. None argued. The stakes left no room for committee debate. Door L2's interior access panel was the closest point to the leaking return tube. Attendant Mike Sugimoto unscrewed the panel screws with a star driver he fetched from the service cart. Air whooshed softly. Pressurized cabin air sought the lowest point. Frost crystals bloomed on the aluminium as the panel fell away. Beyond lay a bundle of hydraulic lines, wiring, and the half-inch aluminium tube sweating liquid fuel vapor. The hiss smelled like summer at a truck stop. Leila's hands shook only until the first glob of pink foam touched the bag. The smell of alcohol propellant shifted brain chemistry from panic to lab mode focus. She rolled the bag into a sausage, felt it cool as CO sublimated, then pinched a narrow spout. Mike placed an arm across her back so she could lean without falling. 2 passengers filming were quietly but firmly moved aside. Leila counted down from 3, shoved the spout into the fracture's mouth, and squeezed. Cold paste jetted, expanded, foamed white. It bulged in pulsing ridges, then froze hard as pumice. She yanked the bag out and slapped pre-cut aluminum. Tape around the swelling plug. Her fingers burned with cold. Pain told her chemistry was working. On the flight deck, Moloch's eye tracked the fuel flow delta. 90 kilos per minute, 80-50. The left gauge still fell, but slow enough to resemble normal burn. He shared the numbers aloud. Daley radioed Shanwick. Pan continues. Rate of loss down to tolerable. Request direct. Shannon. Present speed to 70 knots. Sols 287. Fuel estimate on landing 2.3. Shanwick cleared every aircraft in a 100-mile bubble to give them priority. Leila remained kneeling, watching for seepage. Frost mist drifted down her sleeves. The cabin felt quieter, pressurization valves compensating for the minor loss. Passengers craned necks. Some prayed. Others recorded whispered commentary. Toddler asked why the airplane smelled funny. A mother sang a lullaby anyway. 30 minutes later, the Irish coast materialized on the navigation display. Headwinds had softened, granting an extra 4 minutes of fuel. Engine EGT margins remained healthy. The foam plug held. 180 anti-ice once again demanded fuel. Daley, heart pounding slower now, left it on. Safety first, even if the margin shrank. Over County Clare, approach vectored them onto the ILS for runway 06. Winds 19015, gust 21, braking action medium. Autobrake max, flap 15, a compromise between lower speed and keeping high lift devices. Clear of contaminant ice. Daley flew now. Malik handled radios. He scanned the fuel page every 10 seconds. 7.5 DME. Localizer alive. Glide slope captured. The aircraft touched heavy winter air, shuddered, corrected. To Daley's. Knuckles whitened on the yoke. She let the ILS fly the vertical, but rode ailerons for gusts. VREF 146. She held 155 indicated. 500 feet. Stable, Malik called. 200. Approach lights. 50. Flare. Daley's right foot stomped rudder. Left aileron dipped. The main trucks kissed wet asphalt at 280 feet per minute. Reversers opened. Water roared. Auto brake bit. Flapjack screws wind as the spoilers dumped lift. At 70 knots, Daley took manual braking. Vacated left at taxiway Charlie. An informed tower they required emergency inspection, but not evacuation. Fire and rescue vehicles paced them. Thermal imagers aimed at the left-wing route. The foam plug still glowed ambient green on the camera no hotspot. No new seep. Daley breathed for the first time in an hour. She set the parking brake on apron 5, killed the fuel pumps, and finally unbuckled harness straps that felt welded to her torso. Leila emerged from the galley with gloves peeled off, hands mottled pink from freezer burn. When she stepped onto the air stairs, winter air knifed through her hoodie, yet felt strangely gentle. A paramedic holding a drip bag for Captain Daley stopped, stared at the pinkish coral blister under the wing, and mouthed, "What on earth?" A safety inspector in a yellow vest popped phone photos, then radioed, "Foreign object secure, fuel flow 0. He snapped more photos, turned, and fixed Leila with a beam of disbelief. "You did this?" She nodded mutely. What density? Is that cell structure? She blinked. Maybe 45 kilos per cubic meter. Side reactions exotherm was minimal under 5C. The inspector's grin looked like sunrise, customs, immigration, and airline crisis teams took over. Inside a fluorescent lounge, Leila sipped black tea and filled out an incident statement 8 pages long. Headline writers prepared drafts. College chemist saves jet, DIY foam plug buys time. On social media, a blurry video of the foam injection, taken by a passenger before an attendant blocked the lens, gained 80,000 likes in 2 hours. Armchair lawyers battled engineers in comment threads. Someone leaked her LinkedIn. Recruiters from 3 aerospace firms and 2 polymer startups tried to reach her dorm email before local sunrise. Heroism sometimes boards with student ID cards and sits unnoticed over a wing until math screams louder than terror. It does not wait for a uniform or years in service. It waits for need and for someone willing to kneel on a galley floor, trusting. Chemistry more than fear. The Atlantic is ruthless. Fuel minutes shrink faster than time, but knowledge expands to fill the gap. When warning lights flash and numbers free fall, may someone on board remember their lab notebook and may there be tape, foam, and the courage to improvise. Secret Warrior Stories ends here, but the next quiet hero might already be buckling in behind you.